Big Sur Holy was kind of a general term put on all the weed around that area at the time. So you had like a sativa version, you had an indica version. There was a guy named Perry who was a monk. And that's where the holy part comes into the whole thing. You know what I mean? So his weed was the sort of epicenter of the Big Sur Holy uh, folklore, let's say. And Perry actually organized the first sort of cup idea up there too,
Oh,
which was like a growers meet. You know, everybody got together and brought their best weed, and it wasn't like as organized, obviously, because it was still very much just people on the hill putting it together. But that was pretty much the reason why Sam and why everybody else who went to Amsterdam kind of had that like that is he was the inspiration for a lot of people up there, you know. And then so Big Sur Holy uh, would be what we would consider the seeds that we brought, or the weed that I brought back to Rhode Island would have been because, but we didn't call it that. We did because it was just Jeffrey. It was just his brother's weed, right? So we were pretty much calling it like everything was A, double A, or triple A, and that's pretty much all we really put on it. So you would have your price structure. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily like there was no names put on anything beyond that. It was just like this Affy, right? We call a lot of stuff Affy. Now the problem with Affy is we weren't calling it Affy because of Afghani. We were calling it Affy because it has African in it. It has a Malawi background, right? So there's Malawi in there, and so that confused. That's a little bit of a confusion because if you say the word Affy to most people, they're going to think Afghan. You know what I mean? Because also there's the Afgui, there's the Affy, there's other strains that came out later, but we were just that was just us calling it that. And the thing you'll notice with Big Sur Holy is that it has a lot of THCV in it, right? So it's got like the right flashy kind of high. That's what THCV tends to give people like a very awake high, a very clear kind of like the difference when you smoke outdoor weed and indoor weed. Because indoor weed sometimes people get kind of like some people don't get like the uppity kind of feeling off of it. They only get the kind of downer side of it. And with outdoor weed, a lot of times you never get the couch lock. You only get the other side of it, and that's because the sun is your only source for THC. Very small amounts of THCV can come out in indoor weed, just because the plants can't really produce it without the right spectrum, and we haven't quite. There's something missing in there. You know what I mean? And it's probably the UV. You know, more than likely UV, which means now that we're using more UV in the room with supplement UV lighting and stuff, we might see those spikes come back up again. You know.